It's all because of the government shutdown, and we don't talk about politics on this show, and we don't talk about walls, and we don't really talk about Congress on this show. But we do want to talk about the men and women of the National Weather Service and other federal agencies who are continuing to work right now around the clock to keep us safe and informed and aren't getting paid right now. So tomorrow will be the first day that they actually miss a paycheck. And while we can't fix that here at the Carolina Weather Group, we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge them and let them know that we do appreciate all the hard work that they're doing. The Washington Post had a story out about this, and they spoke to a manager of a local National Weather Service office who did not wish to be named in order to protect his or her own job. But they said something along the line of, it's a bit of a slap in the face when you have the lack of empathy from politicians and the public. We don't want them to feel that way. And they also went on to say, getting paid eventually, but we have bills today. And so we wanted to acknowledge that. We wanted to make sure that you at home realize that there are folks working around the clock right now to keep us safe and keep us informed. And so our shout out tonight goes out to the National Weather Service and all those local offices here in the Carolinas and around the United States as they continue to work to keep us informed during this government shutdown. But it's not just them as well. It's national parks, it's TSA. Even, guys, we were talking about this before the show, the GFS model being impacted here because although it's running, it's not running most optimized as it can be. And so, even this government shutdown, as it carries on here, affecting us back in the weather community. Let's bring back in now the panel. And Scotty, we were looking at that GFS model just before the show, right? And we're getting the data, but we're kind of putting an asterisk on it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, James. Unfortunately, just we don't have all the data that's being fed into that model right now that we normally would if everything was running well. So we're still looking at the GFS, but you have to also keep that in the back of your mind. Hey, not all of that data is being fed into it right now. So it's definitely caused some issues throughout the weather community. And I'm going to bring in Melissa here because Melissa does a lot of research. And Melissa, this has also kind of affected your research that you've done for some of the rainfall totals in South Carolina.
Yeah, we've have actually North Carolina and South Carolina are looking at the potential of having new annual record rainfall totals. So in North Carolina, Mount Mitchell has a rainfall total for 2018 of about 139.94 inches, which could stand as a new annual record. And in South Carolina, we're looking at a station in Jocassee, which is a record, and this is no coincidence, of 123.45 inches for 2018. And these totals have to go through what's known as the State Climate Extremes Committee. And that is a member from the National Weather Service office for that forecast area, which for both of these are actually going to be our Greenville-Spartanburg office that we share across the state line. And we have to bring in an official from the NWS region and a representative from the NCEI, which is the archive of all the data, along with state climatologists. And so there's only so much that we can do in verifying these totals and moving forward to make them the official records, since everything has been kind of put to a hold. So we're hoping to jump on those two and, those two records across the Carolinas here and be able to verify whether or not we have new state records, which is kind of interesting because most people would think that those records, if we did have them in the state, would be in areas that were impacted, by Florence, because that was where you heard of all the rain falling. But it really was in the more mountainous areas in 2018.